great, big, beautiful world out there. And here I sit, sucking on popsicles.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Imbasciani Chronicles. I'm your host, Mike Imbasciani. Thank you for watching this on YouTube. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you comment down below what you think of the show, what you think of the wonderful guests that we always have on this show, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can see reaction videos, the Imbasciani Chronicles podcast, some live gig videos, and a bunch of shorts from a bunch of fun shows. Just 60 seconds long. It doesn't take long, 60 seconds. Watch the video, share it with your friends. Everything on this channel is sponsored by the Rattlesnake Cable Company. If you're a musician out there and you need a new cable, Rattlesnake cables are for you. They're handmade in the USA in Missoula, Montana. So you can go into the description of this video and go check out. There's an affiliate link. Use that to check out Rattlesnake Cable Company. You will never find a better cable. And also, if you really enjoy this show, you can donate to the Venmo. Here in Florida, we appreciate it. So that link is also in the description. Have a very good friend, a very funny comedian as the guest today, and we're gonna show off a little video here, and then he'll join in. Here you go.
I'm a cat person. Are there any other cat people out there? Yeah, got some cat people here. Nice. I'm guessing the rest of you are dog people. Is that what it is? Yeah, I'm not anti-dog, you know. Every time I tell someone I'm a cat person, like, what does that mean, you don't like dogs? No, that's not what that means. It just means I like other people's dogs. I like dogs, I just like them over there. And I'll play with them, but then go back over there. I don't like that kind of energy in my house. You know what I mean? That annoying dog, best friend in your face all the time energy. Just like, yeah! I love you. You're home. Where have you been? It creeps me out. I don't care for that. I don't like that at all. Just in your face. Like, you want to go out? There's a tree. I know this tree. You want to hang out at this tree? What if I just keep breathing into your face? Ugh. All the time? No, thank you. That's why I like cats. Cats are more like, hey, what are you up to? Never mind. I just remembered I don't care. I'll be in the kitchen. I'll see you later. I like that. I don't need a best friend at the house. I just need like an apathetic roommate that sometimes wants to hang out. Like a dog, you can pet a dog's belly all day. They'll never get tired of it, just all day. Just like, yeah, man, never stop. You're the best. Hopefully not that creepy, but you get the idea. A cat you can pet for what, 2, maybe 3 seconds? And so it's like, all right, get away from me. I have my own things going on. I got a pile of clean laundry to lay on. Get away from me. That's what my cat does. It waits for the pile of clean laundry we haven't folded yet and just rubs on it while making eye contact. Just like, everyone's gonna know.
There it is, and here he is, Zoltan. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, it's good to see you.
It's funny watching that video. It's weird watching yourself watching, you know, with like somebody else, and we're just sitting there watching that video, and I'm like, good Lord, that's my face. Those are my eyes. That's my old hair.
Right, the long hair.
I used to be fatter. And there was so much, like, it's 68 million views on that thing on Facebook. Good Lord.
That's awesome.
Cats and the internet, man. They go together. They're peanut butter and jelly.
So was that, because you've talked about there was a video that went viral. That was the cat video that went viral?
Yeah, so I think that version on YouTube has like a couple million views, but that clip on Facebook is 68 million, and that was like the first thing that really popped off to start getting me like a fan base and selling some tickets. So thank you, Dry Bar, and thank you, cat people, you know?
Yeah, you said you started doing cat conventions, right?
I did a couple. I did 2 of them. I'm actually talking to one right now about doing some shows in Vancouver and Toronto. Cool. But I went to one in San Jose, and that's where I met my fiance, Emma.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
see,
it's
all it took was a viral cat video.
And you can find love too.
You can find love too. That's awesome. Well, folks, for those of you out there who don't know, Zoltan, you've been a comedian for how many years now?
So 2006, I went to my first open mic, so 16 years, I believe, if my math is correct.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
And been able to start selling tickets and people showing up like the last 5-6 years, I'd say.
Cool. And so what, first give a background. Zoltan is your real name.
Yep. I was born in Budapest, Hungary. I was named after my grandfather, who is also a entertaining Zoltan. He was a musician.
That's cool.
Moved to the States when I was 4, so everyone just assumed my name was fake, or my parents were hippies, or I did magic, or any of those. And real name.
There you go. Yeah, I was telling one of my buddies we're gonna come see you're at Vasani this weekend.
Yeah,
probably by
here
the
in
time
Port
people
Charlotte
are watching the show tonight, you're already on stage. But this whole weekend, and there aren't many tickets left. If people want tickets, they can go to Vasani.net and get tickets for the almost all sold out shows.
Yeah, it's just Saturday late show. I think that one we have a good amount of tickets left, but everything else is pretty much done. Good. And that's exciting. Like that's so.
It's a good feeling, isn't it? Like that's sold out.
Yeah. I love the drive up to the club, and I'm like, we're not gonna be able to find parking. Like that's the only time I'm happy that I can't find parking. Yeah. If put me in a Costco in that situation, and I'm cussing up a storm to nobody. But when it's your show and you're like, I can't find parking, I'm like, this is the best problem to have.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and everybody, I mean, I'm sure has all been very supportive. Have there been any anti-cat people lately?
Yeah, no, not really. I feel like cats are either you love them, and the people that hate them still kind of keep it to themselves. Yeah, in a way, you know.
It's like I'm a dog person, but cats are still cute.
Yeah, cats.
It's like I'm the opposite of the bit there. Cats are cute. Keep them over there.
Yeah, keep them over there. Are you allergic?
I am allergic. I'm allergic to dogs too.
Oh, okay.
But I have hypoallergenic dogs.
Oh, you got those Labradoodles?
Kind of. They're Havanese, so they have hair. They're related to the Maltese. Every Havanese dog, fun fact for the episode, every Havanese dog can be traced back to an original 13 that came to America from Cuba when all the people fled Cuba. They brought their little dogs with them.
You got your dog at 23andMe. Yeah. All right. You figured out its origin. Exactly. That's so cool. Yeah, people are nice. I mean, I think like one person left a comment, which I really need to stop reading the comments, but one person left a comment that like meant like that means I'm weak or something as a person, which I guess he's kind of right. Like I can't lift that much weight, but I think it actually makes you more emotionally strong to deep down know that the pets in your house don't love you. You know, like I mean, that makes me stronger than anything. That's like surviving a Turkish prison or something. You know, like it's way easier to live in a household full of love. Try doing it without.
You're right. Yeah, and you still have to feed it.
Yes, and you still have to feed it. You have to feed this thing that deep down inside you're like, man, I could die, and it would get over it pretty quick. You know,
it would eat you.
It might. Yeah, it might give a nibble. You know? To taste my nose at least.
Right.
That's what my cats, my 2 cats now, Mushi and Miso, they lick my nose, and it's almost in a way like at the first couple times it's cute. Yeah. But after a while, I'm like, they like the taste. Right. I think they like the taste of me.
This is the appetizer. They go,
like,
this is just saying if we had thumbs, we could do it.
Like, wait till we get into the cheekbones. Like, we're really gonna get in there.
Oh, yeah. So you started with the open mics. As a musician myself, an entertainer, I mean, I understand what that's like of, you know, going up there and never really doing it before. You know, I started playing in front of people by you go to jams and you just try to hope for the best. But at least as a musician, you're surrounded by other musicians all playing on the same song. Right. When you're a comedian going to an open mic for the first time, I would assume a little more stressful.
Yeah, it's I mean, that sounds really nice. I'm sure it's still very nerve-wracking. You're now on a stage in front of people playing with this band. Right. But there's a comedian in San Diego that I think had the best analogy for what it's like to go to an open mic, and his analogy was like, imagine you want to play the guitar, but your town only has one guitar. And the only time you can practice that guitar is at the open mic, and people are gonna watch you practice playing the guitar. Yeah. So it's a really good analogy for what that's like. Like you have to try it out in front of people, so you have to suck in front of people for a while until you start kind of getting the swing of things. So yeah, the open mic. I feel like that's why every comedian in some form or fashion pays their dues. Yeah. Because if you go through the open mic system, which everybody does, you get humbled over and over again, and you kind of just keep showing up.
Yeah. Well, because at the end of the day, you love it.
Yeah, I went in thinking I was gonna crush. Like I was so delusional. I was 19, and I'm like, I'm gonna.
Was this in San Diego?
Yeah, it was in San Diego. I went to this place. It was a garage. It was this guy who went to the Comedy Store, and they made fun of him at the open mic. So he turned the back of his like office that had a garage space into a comedy club to spite the Comedy Store in La Jolla.
Wow!
And he gave everyone 6 minutes at the open mic because the Comedy Store gave 3. So that was like his,
so it was like the little that
was his little middle
stab
finger
back
to him. Yeah. He's like, well, I'm giving 6, and so I would go there, and that's really where I started getting comfortable on stage. And just kind of starting to learn what this is all about. Yeah.
What was it like for you putting together your first tight 5 minutes? Because you hear people talk about, do you deal more with your sets, like timelines, like 5 minutes, 45 minutes, half an hour sets, or do you write your material and you just try to make them fit the time that you have?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think now I just write bits and tell stories, and I don't have a timeline in my head as far as how long this should take.
Well, as a headliner, it's a little easier. You can go
you can do an hour.
When you're the opener, it's like, okay, you get off now.
Yeah. I mean, like when I was in the situation of opening and featuring, if I was at a club like Vasani's, I would be doing jokes that I've been doing for a while that I know are as good as they can be.
Right.
And
tight.
And tight. And in my head, I'm like, all right, that's going to be about 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever your set is. But when I started doing comedy, I think one of the things you really learn is how you write. Like my first set, I just wrote down everything word for word, and I did my entire 6 minutes on one topic. One topic for the entire 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And it didn't go well, but it was I over the years I kind of learned how I write. I don't really write things out. That's not my process. I just kind of have an idea. I write down a bullet point that I think might be the funniest part of the joke, and then I just go on stage and I start hashing it out.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's more, again, from the musician perspective. Yeah, I play cover songs, but then that's like you still put your own feel into it. So it's the same thing with the stories. If you were to prepare the joke too much, then it's not necessarily coming from the heart. It's coming from memorizing it.
That's
as
so
opposed
true.
to just telling the story. And then, by the way, there is a punchline within the story.
Right. Yes. Yeah. There's a punchline within the story, and trying to go on stage without having every word memorized really helps, because then, for me anyway, it just feels like I'm reading, as opposed to being in the moment and telling the story like I'm telling it to a bunch of friends at a bar.
Right.
Which, that's the magic to it.
Well, right, exactly. It is a one-way conversation because you don't want people responding necessarily.
Right.
But it's still telling a story.
Yeah. Go up there and tell your story. I think I heard Bill Burr give that advice on a podcast or an interview years ago, where he's like, go tell your story like you're telling it to a couple friends at a bar, and then you'll give the audience the impression that we're just hanging out with our buddy and he's telling us, the stories of his 2-week diarrhea run in Bangkok or whatever,
right.
Or whatever
Exactly.
happened to him. Yeah.
Yes. Very nice. So, raised in San Diego after you moved from
Mostly,
Hungary?
yeah. Pretty much all San Diego. We had a short stop in Pittsburgh for a few years, raised in San Diego. We're actually looking to move. We're trying to move to New York.
Really?
I've always wanted to live in New York City. Just a shout out to your hat right there.
Oh, yes. Go to the Bronx for me a couple times.
Nice. I've always wanted to live in the big city, but raised in San Diego and loved it. It was a great place to grow up.
Yeah.
Not just for the weather, but the people were very friendly, and
Nice.
it just it's always felt like home. Yeah.
That's good. Shout out to my buddy Deshaun, former bass player in my band. He joined the Marine Corps and is in the Marine Corps band. He's the bass player. He's like the only bass player. And then when they march, he plays the big bass drum that he holds as they march.
So cool.
And he's stationed in San Diego.
Is he at Camp Pendleton?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not far from where I grew up. I grew up in San Marcos, which is North County near Oceanside, and then
Very cool.
Camp Pendleton is just above that. Yeah, it was a really great spot to be. It's so funny that I said, like, I've always felt like it was home there. I remember it wasn't that friendly when I first showed up. I got beat up on the playgrounds at the apartment complex we moved into.
It's like the Karate Kid.
Yeah, I was on the swings, and this kid, I don't remember how it happened. I just remember this kid shoved me off the swings. And I grew up in I was in a nice neighborhood in Pittsburgh, so I was used to like Gentile children.
Right.
And so I got shoved off the
Limp wrist.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, you know. I got shoved off the swings, and I just remember laying there going, why would someone shove me? And before I could get up, I remember a kid who was younger wearing shorts and cowboy boots kicked me in the hip with his like steel-toed cowboy boots, and I just ran home crying. So
I want to go back to who would think that you would say I want to go back to Pittsburgh?
Right. I remember going home to the apartment. I'm crying, and I was like, "This kid with shorts and cowboy boots kicked me in the hip. I want to go back to the snow. I want to go back to the Steel City."
Wow.
Yeah. It was pretty wild. But everything after that was friendly. Just the first day was a little rough.
First day was a little rough. Nice. And how is what's the scene like in San Diego? Because, I mean, everybody, you talk to people, it's, it's Las Vegas even, it's LA. I mean, you're not too far from those places that you can go there, but what's the scene like itself in San Diego?
It's big. We have a lot of stages. So we have 6 full-time clubs, if I'm getting that number right. You have 3 downtown, La Jolla. Yeah, we have 6 full-time comedy clubs and then a bunch of independent shows. Yeah. And that's not what it was when I started. When I started in 2006, we had the Comedy Store, and that was kind of it. Yeah. And then right around 2010, when I moved back from LA, so I spent a little time in LA, when I came back, the scene started really popping off. And there was a bunch of stage time to be had everywhere, and that's when I really started getting good. And so San Diego is kind of people sleep on San Diego because it's so close to LA. Right. People just assume that, but we have a good amount of stage time and very talented up-and-coming comedians there as well. So the scene is very strong, and that's why it's actually hard. It's been hard for me to move, and that's why I haven't moved. Yeah. Is because
you have your foundation there.
It's so great to live in a town where you can go get a spot almost any night of the week and try out new material to then take on the road with you. That, I mean, there's numerous comedians that drive down from LA. They spend the 3-hour drive or 4-hour drive to get an 8-minute spot. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't want to drive that far for an 8-minute spot. So I've really liked coming up there. It's been excellent.
That's great. Yeah. Well, and it's nice too because, like you said, it's not just the Comedy Store anymore. It's these independent places and that will do a show here and there. Plus, it's the regular clubs. And when you have a regular club like that is your home club. And it's nice to have that feeling. It's nice to be able to walk in and say, yes, it's going to be a great night.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like home field advantage for like a sports team. Yeah. That's what it feels like to me to walk into the Comedy Store on a Thursday and do their showcase night and work out whatever new joke I'm trying to work out. It really just feels like home. But also I don't want to feel too comfortable, and that's why this idea of moving to New York sounds really exciting. Yeah. Is just go in there, and New York's the big comedy city, and just hang with the heavy hitters sounds exciting to me.
Very cool. Yeah, that'd be exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So you recently went on a trip.
Yeah.
How was that? Tell us all about that.
We spent 2 weeks in Bangkok, or a week in Bangkok and a week in Bali, 2 weeks in Asia. Wow. And it was, man, I was really excited about the food, but I got the runs like right away, like immediately.
Culture shock.
Because I had American Thai food, and Thai food in the States is very different from the original, the OG. Yeah. And I was just immediately, and I had it for the entire trip and then an extra week after I got home.
Wow. So no 45-minute sets there. It was just 5 minutes, bathroom, come back in 5 minutes.
It was incredible. Everything hurt my stomach.
Oh, man.
Everything hurt my stomach.
I would not last at all.
It got to the point where like the last couple days in Bangkok, I was just ordering plain rice, and they were like, what do you want on it? And I'm like, nothing. Just give me some plain white rice. And I want to eat that. I just want to stuff the pain in my belly. And that was the food. Now, the city, Bangkok, beautiful. I was telling you before we started recording, it's a city that, I don't know how many millions of people live there, but the traffic is insane. We were riding in the back of tuk-tuks. There's Ubers where you ride on the back of a motorcycle. So there's just like dudes sitting
just grabbing
and
a
women.
Stranger.
Yeah, either grabbing a stranger, but the women, because they're wearing skirts, and even if they're not wearing skirts, even if they're wearing pants, they sit side saddle on the back fender of a motorcycle, and this guy's just scooting through traffic, and I'm like, that woman's gonna get her legs cut off in an intersection. Right. but nobody got out. We were there for 7-8 days, not one accident.
Wow.
I saw a bunch of close calls, no accidents, no one flipping each other the bird.
You see in the action movies with the, the tuk-tuk that rolls over with all the stuff in the back just fall, everybody's screaming in the air.
Yeah, none of that happened. So many intersections we went into where I'm in the back of a tuk-tuk going, this is where we die. Like, this is where it's over. I'm just seeing 6 different lanes of traffic merging into one. And
American comedian famous for cat video, dead in tuk-tuk accident.
Horrible tuk-tuk fire. He could not get out from underneath. But it never happened. So I think that was my favorite part of Bangkok, is just watching such a large group of people jammed into a city totally coexist.
Right.
And
as opposed to New York City.
As opposed to New York, where you just see, there's a lot more violence, a lot more fighting, and all sorts, and people cussing each other out. And I just didn't see any of that over there. That was really, really beautiful. And then we went to Bali, which is the opposite of Bangkok. A smaller amount of people. It's more, relaxation. And I actually enjoyed the food out there more.
That's cool.
We had an Airbnb that the host, part of the Airbnb deal was the host cooks meals for you every day. And she was amazing.
Wow.
Her food was so good, didn't hurt me. But I was so
you had a low threshold. Just don't hurt me.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm like, if you don't hurt me with this food, I'll be happy. And it tasted amazing. It didn't hurt me. I was still battling what I was battling from Bangkok, but I could tell it wasn't this food. This food was staying where it should, and then everything else was killing me on the throne. But I don't know. That's kind of what I learned from the trip. I have a white guy's stomach.
Yeah,
I have a white guy, mayo, ranch dressing, easy on the spice stomach when I'm abroad. For some reason, at home, I'll eat spicy and everything, but my guts can handle it here. It's not the same. It's different. It's different.
Yeah. Cool. And so the other big difference from the first video we played, you had the longer hair.
Oh yeah.
And you told me it's sort of just like the rock star mentality. You had the long hair to be on stage.
Yeah. So I cut my hair in October of 2020.
Okay.
And
because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID. I was just wearing my hair up all the time. And I'm like, why don't I just cut this? And I was always thinking about cutting my hair when I turned 30, because I didn't want to be in my 30s with long hair. But I waited till 33, because I waited a long time to do everything. Yeah. And then so I finally just had my Britney Spears moment and hacked it all down. Yeah. And I had a buzz cut for a while, and until I did a show with a buddy of mine, Ian Edwards, and he's like, "Oh, you're going for the white supremacist look," and I'm like, "No, I'm not." And then so I started growing it out to where it is now.
Yeah, because you had the rock star look going there.
Oh yeah, look at that! I look like I was telling you, I look like I managed a surf shop that went out of business, and they had headshots in their.
They still use that headshot, by the way.
I know. I haven't sent them a new one, and I kind of like that they use the old one.
Right.
So people show up, and then I get on stage, and they're like, "Who's this guy?" And you're like, "Oh, this is me 10 years later."
Right.
Yeah, I think I was 25, 26 in this photo, maybe younger.
I love this is almost like the adoption photo.
Yes, this is the please adopt me, and by adopt I mean buy tickets to my show so I can pay my rent.
Yeah, which is essentially the same thing.
I love this photo because every comedian has either a smarmy photo. They either have a that's what she said look on their face,
right?
Or they're goofy, and I just went with the adorable adopted Annie look on that one.
Well, and honestly, I like this one because it gives me the 1990s I'm an indie artist in Seattle.
Yes,
kind of look.
I look like my acoustic guitar has a lot of stickers on it, and all of them have a point.
And anyway, here's Wonderwall.
I will ruin your campfire.
Yes.
And I'll make you listen to some originals.
Exactly. I wrote this song when she broke my heart.
I definitely did. I've always been 10 years behind on whatever look I go for.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely noticed that. So, that picture was probably taken, I don't know, 2011, 2012, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And then,
so see the way 20 years after the 90s.
Yeah. So I'm going to have an ironic mullet in 20 more years. I think that's the way it's going to go.
Right. We got Tiger King right over there. You just have to...
I saw him. Yeah. I feel like his mullet is not ironic. His mullet...
Oh, he means it.
Yeah, he's straight from 1979.
Right.
And he's like... No,
and it was the bullet hole tattoos that really, sent it home.
The class. The level of class. I love it. So much. But yeah, the mullets that are out now, like Theo Von's mullet, seems very this is ironic, right?
Right.
But I'm like, Tiger King's got an OG mullet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
And you watch any baseball? San Diego Padres.
Yeah, definitely. We had a great team this year.
Yes, I'm obviously a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
You're seeing that like kind of like the Mohawk mullets.
Yeah.
Not the tall Mohawks, but just like the buzz cut with the this is a Mohawk. It could be, and then in the back it does all the mullet tail.
Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
seeing that
it really waterfalls.
It
in the
peeks
back.
out of the hat and of the helmet. You know.
I loved I think my favorite mullet is the spiky hair, kind of like my length here.
Yeah.
Spiked.
Right.
Shaved on the sides and then just waterfall to the ass crack. Like, I think that, but to the ass crack.
Right. It has to be.
Yeah. And then spike gelled up. You're like, dude, I love you and I want to know what's in your fanny pack. It's going to be a fun fanny pack and you know they're going to wear one. It's going to be perfect.
One, he has two.
Yeah, he's got two.
With
fanny.
the ankle monitor.
Hey, you know what? Those drug charges would be cleared if he was arrested today. But the problem was he was arrested 10 years ago when all that stuff was illegal.
Right. Anyway.
Anyway, I'm a fan of mullets. Dude.
Right, yeah.
That's who I am. I'm a fan of the mullet, and I think I'm about 20 years away from
If
growing
you had
mine
a
out.
mullet in Bangkok, it would have been a hit.
If I had a mullet in Bangkok. I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt in Bangkok, and Emma was like, don't look like a tourist. Because we're going to be the target of like scams and thieves and stuff. And I'm like, I don't think a Hawaiian shirt is the only reason people think I'm not a local. Like I couldn't.
There's a couple other.
Yeah, there's a couple other things,
Yeah.
mainly on my face, maybe skin color. I don't know. And they're going to be able to tell.
Yeah.
Especially when, even if I looked like the locals, I'm a dead giveaway for a tourist because I point a lot. I'm a
It's
big
like, "Look at
pointer.
that."
Yeah, I do a lot of whoa, whir. And Emma always makes fun of me. She's like, "Stop pointing. Everyone knows we don't live here." I'm like, "But
Right.
did you see that? You need to see that." You know.
There's no traffic accidents.
I am such a man-child. We were in New York, and I almost stepped in a dog turd on the street because
Could have been human.
Could have been human.
It's New York City.
You know what it might have been? I think I'm just trying to make it feel better in my heart and
Right.
say it was a dog. But we were walking, and I almost stepped into it. And the reason my attention was diverted is because I was watching firefighters pull their fire truck into the garage. And I'm just like...
Traffic.
Yeah. And I told her, and she's like, "You almost missed that dog turd." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I was watching these firefighters back their fire truck into it." And she's just like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I don't know.
It's a fire truck.
It looks cool." And I'm in my head, I'm like, I could never back that giant truck into that little garage space on a busy Brooklyn street. And
Yeah,
so I
right.
was fascinated by it. But yeah, I guess I'm 8 years old in my core.
Hey, when I was in New York, last time I was in New York in 2009, I was on Wall Street, and there was a police officer on the horse, and the horse took a dump right on Wall Street. And I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it.
Horses are notoriously communist. Like that was a communist horse taking a dump on capitalism. Yeah. He's used to sharing his hay with all the other horses.
Exactly. and he worked for the man.
And he worked for the man. Yeah, he was. He didn't choose to wear that uniform. You know, like that was bestowed on him. I like that. I'm a big fan of dog turds, not so much. Human, way less, right?
Right.
But a good, healthy horse turd in the middle
Right.
of a busy street in Wall Street, that's
How they're
beautiful.
so perfectly spherical.
How do they get it? I think it's that vegetarian diet that they're on. That's
Probably.
how it comes out that way. It's a real high-class program we're having here.
Oh, I know, right? You're welcome.
2 weeks of diarrhea and horse turds. Let's get into it.
I'll one up you. Talking about New York City, my dad was in New York in law school up there in around the 80s.
Okay.
And he said one of the best features of New York that he remembers very vividly was when he got off the bus and there was a homeless man sleeping on a bench.
Yeah.
And he decided that he had to urinate, and he did not get up to urinate. He was face down on the bench and went through the bench. New York City.
That's beautiful. Like, say what you will.
Pre-Giuliani.
Yeah. This is when he was there when New York City was, like, really scary.
Right.
Like,
He cleaned it up.
Yeah. Giuliani cleaned it up, but,
Right.
like, he was there.
Now it's back.
Yeah. Now it's back, but I don't even know if now is as scary as it was. I guess we'd have to send your dad back so he can, like...
Right. It's like, how was this?
Yeah. Relate
Yeah.
this to early 80s when you were there in law school.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I had a guy, I was going, but this guy was polite, and I don't think he was homeless. I was walking up the stairs in the subway to head to the platform, and this guy just like cut off, and he goes, excuse me. And he wasn't really saying it to me, he was kind of saying it to everybody.
General, yeah.
Just a general excuse me, and then I was like, what's he saying?
Surprised
no one
you
says
got that.
excuse me.
I know,
yeah.
yeah.
And then
He must be doing something really bad.
Yeah, and then before he even finished, excuse me, his dingus was out and he was peeing on a wall. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess if you say excuse me,
That's okay.
I guess it's
a misdemeanor then.
It is.
Yeah, so it's also speaking of the subway, my dad was walking up out of the subway, and there were two cops at the top of the stairs, and he said, why are you guys up here? They were subway cops. And the cop said, it's dangerous down there. So yeah,
I believe it.
New York City.
It's a little sketchy. Nothing happened really on all the train rides I took except the last train I took after a set. I was going back to our Airbnb in Brooklyn, and there was a crazy guy on the train. And it was kind of beautiful how he built, because he was just sitting there, and then slowly the noises started coming out of him. But it built it up. Because it just started, and then people were like, huh? And then it built to a, and he's like
Nice.
fighting ghosts.
Right.
And
The meds were wearing off.
yeah, he was having a crisis. But it was kind of a beautiful moment too, because everyone that didn't have headphones in, which was about half the car, we kind of were making eye contact with everyone that wasn't him, just like, hey, we're in this together. Right. It was like this beautiful moment. I remember looking at this guy.
Humanity coming together.
Yeah, where I looked at this guy who was closer to him. I was at the far end. And we kind of had an understanding of like, you and me got this. And then every time the train would stop and someone would get off, I'd be like, what a traitor. Like,
He gave up.
Yeah, you gave up. We're supposed to be in this together.
Yeah.
And then I remember when my stop came, I kind of looked at the dude who I had that moment with and kind of gave him a nod, like, this is my stop. You're on this on your own, but I'll always remember you. And then I just kind of walked off. It was kind of like a beautiful bonding moment in a city that you feel probably doesn't have those, you know?
Yes. It's the little things in life.
It's the little things, just a little look like, yes, I see the crazy man too. This is scary.
It's not a hallucination.
No, we were both afraid, right?
Yeah, exactly. I remember the happy thing about New York when I was there in 2009. Times Square is truly unbelievable. Yeah. And I was there at 11 o'clock at night, and it felt like daytime with all the lights.
With all the lights.
And then you look up, and the sky is black. It's a crazy feeling.
It'll mess with your head.
It will.
It will. I love. I think what it is I really love late night eats. Like just
pizza,
bagels. Having the opportunity to eat. Like in San Diego, there's one Asian restaurant that's open till 3 a.m. that Emma and I love.
Nice.
And we go there a lot. But in New York, it's like that times a billion places. Right. It's like whatever you want at whatever hour you want it. And that's really enticing.
Have you taken Emma to Serendipity yet in New York City?
No, I have not. What? Tell me, fill me in. I don't know what this is.
Serendipity, when I was there, our rickshaw driver drove by it twice because he didn't know where it was either. Okay. But it's this famous ice cream place. And desserts in general. There was even a movie I think called Serendipity.
I know the movie. I didn't know there was a restaurant.
It's an actual place. It's called Serendipity 3 now because it's the third iteration of it. It's moved around the city a couple times. But it's just this famous ice cream place, and they have. I remember. I think it's $1,000 ice cream sundae, and it had actual gold in the ice cream and a gold leaf on it.
And it cost $1,000?
I believe so, yeah. Last time I was there. Inflation's probably $2,000 now.
Wow.
But yeah, and I mean just huge, like unbelievable things of ice cream. It's like the perfect romantic spot.
Oh my, that's what if I was ever like if I'm ever a millionaire, like I'm not like a real car guy, I'm not a mansion guy, I'm not like a clothes person. My thing is food.
Yeah, good.
That's
food.
where I would like if if I was rich, if I was getting $1,000 ice cream.
Right. And then you just take one bite and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, I wish I had that. That would be great. That's how you know that I had ice cream even before I came here. Because because I don't have the self-control to buy the $1,000 ice cream and not eat it all.
Well, right.
But yeah, if you did see me stop, you're like, oh, he came from another ice cream place and he's just tasting what $1,000 ice cream tastes like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's who I am. I'm a real food snob, you know?
Totally. So with your material, and we've talked about how you basically use it as stories.
Yeah, I mainly do stories.
Yeah, and I'll talk about briefly your trip to Tucson, and then I want to play the video because this was that night at that Tucson venue.
Yeah, so the backstory on this, the video you're about to see is at Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona. The venue's great, and I was on stage. I don't even remember what I said in this video, but I think I was just talking about that Emma looked it up and that it is haunted, and that I was like kind of scared of it.
Right.
And so that was what happened there. And then that night we were sleeping in the room just upstairs from the venue, and I don't know, there's no delicate way to say this, but we were trying to sleep. No one's sleeping.
All right, pause. Well, that's the after story. Let's show the video
watch
first.
The video,
watch the video, then we'll preface it. Here we go.
Staying at the hotel, my fiance and I, we didn't know anything about it, other than it's a cool-looking old classic building. And while we're in the room, it's just a tiny room with a bed and a little desk. It looks like someplace like Bukowski got drunk and wrote, That's what it looks like up there. And I'm like, ooh, this is artsy. And then we sat down and then quickly found out there's no plugs. There's no, do you need to charge anything? Well, you don't. All right? I'm telling you, you don't. There's no plugs. And then she's like Googling the hotel. She's like, this place is cool. And she's like, oh, it says this is one of the most haunted places in the entire country. And I'm like, huh? And I go, how haunted? And she's like, well, there's like a Wikipedia page for like each room, pretty much. And she starts going down the room numbers, going, yeah, you'll wake up with a lady on your bed on that one. This one will lock you in the bathroom. And she's like, I'm waiting for our room number. That's all I'm waiting for. And I'm like, because there's no, you know what's worse than being in a haunted house? Is being in a haunted room. Because where do you go, Like, there's no like, oh, maybe that's just a shadow. There are no shadows. You're in a small, everything's here, You just gotta run out of there. That's terrifying. And there's no TV. That's usually my defense. I've stayed in places that I assumed was haunted. I stayed at a hotel in Aiken, South Carolina. And I walked in, it looked old, and I asked the lady behind the counter, it's a very nice southern lady. And I was like, when was this place built? She's like, it was built in 1898. And I was like, wow, that's pretty old. I'm like, is it haunted? She's like, well. And I'm like, I'm looking for a hard no right now, man. I'm looking for a stern, you're fine. And she gave me a very loose, well. So that night, I spent the entire night with SportsCenter on the TV, because in my mind, that will keep the ghosts away. In my mind, the ghosts will come by like, oh, he's still watching sports highlights. We'll have to catch him later. There's no TV up there. They're gonna know. They're gonna know. We're just ready to be terrified. I wonder, it must be fun being a ghost. Because it's not always just scaring people. You just get to watch people when they think they're not being watched. You ever have one of those moments where you got the house to yourself, you're just naked, dancing in front of a mirror, and then your significant other walks in, and you're like, hey, what? I thought Tuesdays were my day, That's what ghosts get to see all the time without the interruption. Just like, wow, that's where you're taking this, okay. Like, before I came down, my fiance was helping me put Vaseline on my taint, because I worked out this morning. We ran on the treadmill, and we had breakfast afterwards, so all my sweat dried while I was sitting, and I got a little rash in the taint. And then I'm like, how am I supposed to do this show? These people are expecting me to be all suave, and I got a rashy taint. So there I am, just doing like a yoga pose in the bed. She's just putting a little bit of Vaseline on my taint, and I'm like, John Dillinger's in the corner right now. This is why I won't leave. This is why I stay. Like, I'm gonna go to boring ass heaven or hell, and I'm staying right here. Watch a grown man lube up his taint. It's the dry air. All right.
It's the dry air.
It's the dry. That's so funny. I watched that video without audio. Yeah. And just because of my body movements, I was like, oh, I did that joke that night? Because that happened that day. Right. Where I had the chafy taint,
That should be a hashtag, don't you think?
I can't believe it. And yeah, so it's so interesting to watch that video because I'm watching me before it happened, which, you know. So that was earlier in the day when we first checked in. Emma dabbed me up with a little bit of Vaseline because she's.
It's like it's the motion too.
It's the motion, yeah. Just a droplet, yeah. And so that night we were in the hotel. We're trying to sleep, and we can't sleep because we've read too much about how the ghosts and stuff. So no one's sleeping.
It's like each room you said had something.
Yeah. And we never read what our room had or didn't have. But I remember we couldn't sleep. Me and her were just tossing and turning in this small bed. And then at 3 a.m, we heard like a very loud cough, it was so weird, this cough. I say it in the joke because I have a whole bit about it, but this cough came from everywhere. The cough didn't have a location. It sounded like it could have came in the room or the room next to us or even outside on the street. It was just everywhere. And then after I heard the cough, I felt someone standing on my side of the bed. Like I just felt someone there.
Yeah, an energy.
Yeah, an energy. And in the joke and in real life, I say my defense to that as a 35-year-old man is that I closed my eyes tighter.
Right.
That's what I did.
It's not there.
It's not there. I just went, ugh. And then I felt a pressure, like a hand on my hip, and it moved over to all my good and plenty spots, and it gave me like a 3-pump, just kind of tossed me around a little.
Yeah.
And it was strong hands.
A hashtag me too.
Ghost me too. Like, I don't know if you can cancel someone post-mortem, but like
they've been trying.
Yeah, I know they've been trying. Well, this is one where they really should. Like, this is not okay. We need to talk to a dead sheriff or something to like get this taken care of. But it gave me 3, like what I call how do you do, just 3 pumps.
Yeah.
And I tried to scream Emma's name and I couldn't. It was like a horror movie. I had no voice in my throat. I was like, I was so scared. And then Emma woke up, and in the joke I say it one way, but what really happened is I didn't tell her what had just happened.
Yeah.
I just kind of go, oh, like I didn't say anything. And the reason I didn't is I didn't want to have to leave the hotel. Because I knew if I told this to Emma, she's going to be like, we have to get out of here. And I'm like, I'm tired and we have to drive to Albuquerque tomorrow. So
it's like you'd rather go through it again than get up, get your luggage.
I had a real victim's mentality.
Yeah.
Like, it was not the right idea.
Harvey Weinstein. I mean.
Yeah, I was, man, what a weak person I am. I was just like, I just want some sleep. And I couldn't fall asleep. We turned on all the lights and I just kind of laid there until the sun came up.
Wow.
And then when we were in the car, I told her, I was like, dude, I was molested by a ghost. And she's like, what? And I was like, I told her that while we were eating Egg McMuffins in the parking lot of a McDonald's.
Yeah.
And
this is my story.
Yeah, this is my like my therapy session. It's just a warm sandwich and telling her about it. And she's like, serious? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, that's crazy. And I've never been like a ghost guy, you know? Like I've had
it's not like you watch the show, like you have your little ghost meter.
Yeah, it wasn't like that, but now I am. Like we ended up going on a ghost tour a couple weeks after that. We were in Savannah, Georgia, and I've been fascinated with ghosts ever since because I'm in that world now. I've been touched, touched. I'm part of that.
Been touched.
Yeah, I've been just. He was like it was almost like he was trying to unlock a safe, and he was trying to get to the right number. It was, it was so scary. That was the most frightening experience of my entire life, and it's so interesting to watch that video that we were watching. I'm like, he doesn't even know.
He doesn't know what's going to
He
happen.
doesn't know what's coming. Whatever ghost did that to me was probably at the show.
Right.
And he
said,
like, oh,
not
I'm
funny.
Get him. I'm gonna get him.
Yeah.
If that's what he thinks, I'm gonna get his ass. And he did. He got me, or she. We don't know.
They them.
They them. Non-binary. Could have been the first non-binary person. The ghost of the first non-binary person. We don't know. Yeah.
We just don't know.
So
and folks, the moral of this story is
don't stay at the Hotel Congress.
That too, but just how fast you can get this material and how true the material is.
Yes, I tell true stories, and the reason is because I'm not that creative. And so a lot of times people ask me, did that happen? And I go, yes. Now, sometimes I tweak like details of it.
Right.
So like in the joke that I tell, which you can see on my special White Lies, I tell her that I say that I told her immediately,
right? And
then she goes, "We have to report it," which she actually did say we have to report it, but she said it in the parking lot, And I'm like, so you want me to call the hotel back and go,
I was touched.
I was molested in room 217. Maybe put that in your manager's notes for the day. I don't know what you're supposed to do with it. So that part of the joke has changed. But for the most part, like I really like telling stories that happened to me.
Yeah,
like I forgot that I told the Vaseline story on the taint.
Like that night.
Yeah. Like that was 3 hours after she did it. Like that happened at 3 p.m. and then that shows at like 7 or 8 or whatever. A few hours after that, I'm like, I got Vaseline in the groin area, you know.
Got to stay nice and loose.
Got to stay loose up here in this dry air in front of you, good Tucsonians.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw you at Vasani not long after that.
Yeah.
And you were doing the bit, and that was.
I had the whole ghost thing. I mean, I was doing.
It like just completed the story.
Yes.
The ghost saw it and was like, needs a little more.
This isn't done yet.
No.
Yeah, this joke's not done. Let me. I'm gonna leave you with a banger here. You're gonna be
literally.
All right. Yeah, literally a banger. And yeah, I think I was like trying out that joke. I didn't do it in Albuquerque that night, but the next night I was in Prescott, Arizona, and I was getting the little pieces of it together.
Yeah,
putting it together. Yeah, but yeah, that's how I write jokes. I go out. I get diarrhea, I get molested by ghosts, and then slowly it ends up on stage. Or actually, quickly it ends up on stage. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and that's what people want to see, is they want to connect. They don't want to see the ghost molesting, but they want to hear about it.
They do want to hear about it. They want to live vicariously.
They want to say, my life is not that bad.
They want to live vicariously through my misery, and
Exactly.
I definitely deliver it with a smile, so it's not that bad.
Oh, man. And so tell folks where they can find you. You're on Instagram. You post a lot on there. You're on the Chinese TikTok.
Yes, the Chinese TikTok has my face.
Yes.
And
So it's too late, so you might as well just keep going.
I mean, we got the followers. I gotta. That's how shallow I am. I'd rather sell tickets and be okay with them taking my identity. And I'm like, as long as
I sold tickets.
Yeah, we're selling tickets, man. So if you have my social and you already are creating a, what are they doing? Doppelgangers, or like creating
deep
clones?
fakes, or
the deep fakes. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's such a great excuse in case I ever get in trouble for something.
Looks a whole my
I can say no. That was a deep fake. I wasn't. I didn't yell at that Waffle House waitress. That was a deep fake.
Exactly. My friend who was a cop in New York a long time ago. He has since passed away. So the statute of limitations has run out. He used to say, yeah, if anybody has, even if they have videotape on you, looks a lot like me, but it ain't me.
Oh, wow. See, I think this just gives us more deniability.
Yeah.
To be
it was
rude
a deep
in
fake.
public. Yeah.
They brought back Peter Cushing from the dead to be in a Star Wars movie 30 years after he died.
That's true. Remember the Tupac hologram at Coachella? Yeah. So it's just going to give us an excuse. So
Exactly.
I'm not that
Paul
scared.
McCartney still singing songs with John Lennon.
Exactly. Everyone's still alive.
Yep.
Except for the ghost that touched me. But everyone else is dead. The
He felt alive that night.
Yeah, so all of the social medias are just my name. It's Zoltan and Comedy.
Yep.
On whatever. I'm on all of them. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'm missing
In
any.
the Twitterverse, the Elon Twitterverse.
Yeah, the Elon Twitterverse. I try not to go on that one that much because that one makes me mad.
Yeah.
That's where everyone who even people with my own opinion, they will write it in a way where I'm like, I'm mad now. I'm mad that I feel this way.
Right.
So I try to stay off that one. But yeah, follow me there too. I tweet like once a week.
I like the Instagrams. You're always posting the reels. Funny how I'm sharing those.
Yeah, thank you so much. I signed on with this great management team in San Diego, and they've kind of taken over my social media and really blown it up in the last couple months.
Cool.
Doing the clips, so watch all the clips and like all the likes and buy all the tickets.
Yes.
So me selling my face to the Chinese won't be that big of a deal.
Right. And yeah, folks, Vasani this weekend, only a couple tickets left. Hopefully you're watching it this weekend.
Yes.
Otherwise, he's already gone.
Yeah.
So look for the next show. But Vasani.net, and go get some tickets for my next show there, the Simply Clapton show. We'll be back at Vasani in February and March.
That's awesome.
Fun times. And you have quite a few of your specials on YouTube as well.
Yep. Modern Male I put up in 2020. That one's got 3 million views. Really pumped about that. And the newest one is White Lies, which is available on my page. And then I think they also posted both my Dry Bar specials on Dry Bar's page. So
Okay, cool.
there's plenty of content for you to
Yeah.
see my dumb face. So go check
like
out
it.
all of it.
And this podcast.
And this podcast. And don't skip the ads. We're trying to pay rent. All right.
Exactly.
So,
I don't even have ads yet.
oh, well, once he does,
Yeah.
don't skip them.
Exactly.
You watch that entire ad.
You hit the affiliate link. Go buy a coffee mug. You're not a guitar player. It's fine. Rattlesnake Cable Company. Use the affiliate link. Go buy a T-shirt. It's fine. It helps me.
You can stick that cable anywhere, buddy. Like, it's just
The ghost did.
the ghost. Yeah.
So finally, as a final question, with these specials that you do, that
Mm-hmm.
you've done and the new ones that just come out that you put on YouTube, for you, what goes into that process? Like you want to find the right club, or you just try to record a bunch at a couple different clubs and find the best one? What is that process like for you?
Yeah, I guess it's not very finite. The one I did, Modern Male and White Lies, I filmed at the same place.
Okay.
And the reason I did it again there is because White Lies did so well, and I wasn't expecting it to. I just put a camera in the back, and I was really just getting the audio for an album that I was releasing, and I just put the
Okay.
camera in the back to get some clips for promo.
Good.
But then the pandemic hit, and I was like, well, I'm just going to put this whole hour on YouTube. And I was glad I did, because it took off and got a bunch of views, got me a bunch of fans, so it really paid off. So when I was looking to film the second one, I was looking at this cool bookstore in my neighborhood, and that would have been a nice backdrop. Probably sat like 50 people. We could do 4 shows.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, why don't we just go back to the club that I filmed the last one in, and then film it nicer, so it doesn't look like
Right,
security footage
better
in the corner.
Production quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little better production quality. So that's kind of what went into the thinking of that one. Whatever the next one is, I don't know. I haven't really thought that far ahead, but I'm open to different venues. Like, I really enjoyed the Irvine Improv. I did a show there in September, and I love the energy there. I wouldn't mind filming the next one there if they let me.
Yeah, what's been the best show you've done in your mind?
Like, ever?
Ever.
Oh, I don't know.
You even did some shows in Bangkok.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if I can single it out to one, but I will say that Modern Male Hour, that Saturday early show that I filmed that one at, couldn't have gone any better.
Awesome.
Like, that crowd was amazing, and I've even seen it in the comments, which I shouldn't read. Like, this is funny, but that crowd is like on another level. And I was like,
it makes a huge difference.
It makes
Whenever
such
I
a big
record stuff with my band, like you can do a studio recording. I've got everything here in the studio to record if I want to, but there's nothing like a live audience. And when it's a good
crazy.
live audience, it feels even better.
it gives you goosebumps. It's amazing. Like, if I took the audience track out of out of Modern Male or any special, if you just take the audio track and then don't have the laughs in there, you're like, whoo, this is a rough set.
Yeah,
But like with that laughter there, it just really it's contagious. Yeah.
definitely. Zoltan, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Greatly appreciated. Folks, thank you for watching the show. Don't forget, subscribe to the Imbasciani Chronicles podcast here, and the whole YouTube channel helps me out. Go check out all the other videos. And Zoltan, I'll see you at Vasani. Looking forward to checking out the show.
I'm looking forward to seeing your show on Friday.
Thank you. Yeah, Leroy's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
Folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
That was fun.